welcome everybody to the first ever Sports F.A.M. podcast episode. Woo! My name is Grant. I'm joined here by two distinct members of the family.
Don't you mean distinguished? Keep going.
I'm joined by my younger brother, Luke.
Taller, but yes.
Yeah.
Why would you feel the need
Come on, let's go.
And then my father, Poppy Mark.
That's right.
Yes. Guys, we did it. We did the stereotypical guy thing of starting a podcast.
Us.
Yeah.
We did it.
All right. I'm excited about this.
Me too, man.
Thanks, serious. I really am. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
This is
It's
going to
fun
be
to do
great.
with you guys.
So, I am very curious. I did want to ask this question. Which of you, because Luke pitched the idea to me.
Yes, this is
Which
my
of
podcast. Welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're a guest on my podcast, actually. Welcome to our first two guests.
And it's
That's a wrap.
only been probably 2 minutes in, and Luke is already
taking the show.
narcissistic.
That's right, yeah.
This is great. But I am curious, which of you two actually came up with the idea before you pitched it to
It was
me?
definitely me.
What? No way.
Oh, it was for sure me.
What? No. We were having a conversation. I'm like, Luke, we should do a podcast. I on sports podcast.
Hold on. I said this to
my
you.
word.
I did say this to you. We were in a coffee shop. I said
Already
it.
causing strife.
Okay.
I love this.
Then Luke did it. Then Luke started it. That's
'Cause
fine.
I would never lie about such a thing.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I don't know. See, for you
I think
pretending to take credit for something on a podcast sounds exactly like something you would do.
Okay. Whatever.
No, I think. I don't know. It's something that we've talked about a little bit.
I would say it was
right?
a group
all of
effort,
us.
where we'd all be like, yeah,
I don't
we
know if it's narrow it down to one, but
I feel like there are definitely moments where all were like, yeah, it'd be fun if we had a podcast. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Cool.
I do have a real technical question for you guys.
Okay.
Is my audio peaking for you guys too much, or is it coming through okay?
No,
I
you're
just wanna
good.
Make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
I'm watching the levels and everybody's good to go.
That
I
is
also-
our producer. That's
right.
Well.
So
Great.
as for timestamp for everybody, we're recording this on Sunday, the day of the NFC and AFC championship. As of this moment, the Eagles are kind of kicking butt against the Commanders.
Looking like they're going to win it.
Yeah, I think it's 47, 48 to 23.
Oh, is it really?
They
Yeah,
just,
okay.
Saquon
Most
just,
things have changed.
I want to credit this. We're going to get into him a little bit more, but Saquon has 3 touchdowns right now and is kind of going
he should
off.
have. Listen,
He should have
if the
4.
tush push didn't exist, he'd have 6.
We can
Yeah,
fucking
they should,
five.
well, on that play, they should have given
5.
it to him. Right, exactly.
Yeah,
anyway.
then they want to be. Yeah.
All right, we'll get
into that later. But I just wanted to give a timestamp. The Bills and the Chiefs have not yet played. We kind of know what the results of the NFC championships are, but I think we're going to get into our Super Bowl picks in a later episode once we know the winners of both games. Is that correct?
Correct.
But yeah, this episode, guys, we're kind of just excited to just intro it and just kind of get into just who we are, and we're just a bunch of guys that love each other kind of, and then love sports a lot. And so I think we
We
kind
love
of
each other because we all love sports.
that's kind of the one thing that keeps us
It's the
together.
glue
these
that
days.
keeps the household
We
together.
all live away from each other now,
On
which
purpose.
probably on purpose.
That is a blessing.
Yes.
That was this is the best day of my life.
Yeah.
And we all were like, yeah, we're actually going to move out.
When
And he's like,
Grant went
yes.
away to college, he's
Yeah.
like, it's finally starting to
Yeah.
happen.
No, I think it was when I went away to college that he was most most thankful.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. He was probably sad when I left.
You were the
But anyway, yeah, I am.
I'm not saying anything.
Dad's staying out of this.
That's right.
Legally,
I promise there will probably be much more heated debates than who is the favorite son.
You can have that.
But I kind of want to start. So we kind of have a little bit of an agenda for the podcast. But knowing us, we'll get sidetracked and go on some really cool tangents, which we're glad that you listeners decided to come along for the ride with the craziness that is our family.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you, listeners.
Thank
if
you,
we
listeners.
have any,
That's
this
right.
could be nobody.
If we have it,
My future self listening to this,
I will.
and that's it.
right.
I will
yeah.
be real with you guys. Even if nobody listens to this, I will 100% just listen to this for me.
Yeah, of course. It'll be fun.
It's fun to just get.
It's a
to do
great
this.
memory too, right? Dad with his sons and be able to do this. So I'm really excited about it, just to spend time with you guys and not to get too sappy. But it is fun. We all love sports. It's something that we're all into, and be able to talk about it and have conversation about it, because we normally talk about sports anyways.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of fun to now maybe
Really
invite
does happen a
other
lot.
people into that conversation.
I feel it's good that we're doing this because I feel bad for mom and my two sisters because whenever we're together, it's like we have to have like this hour to hour and a half talk of like sports, like catching up, talking about it. Yeah. And now we have a space where we can do that, and they don't have to feel like they're being left out.
That's
I guess
true.
they
That's
are being
good.
left out, but
that's
like,
good. Well, kind of.
It's a planned thing,
but they're excited too, right? They're happy for us.
I will say something though that I love though is that Mom and Aislinn and Kate have actually started to come around to liking football.
Yeah,
the last couple of years, like
Joe Burrow.
I like to think I had a little bit of credit. I mean, well, let me be clear. Joe Burrow had a lot to do with that because when he stepped onto the scene,
shout out to Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
come on,
if you're
Joe
listening,
Burrow,
Joe. If you're
I want to just say my piece real quick about Josh.
Oh gosh,
no, don't. Come on, save that for that episode.
No, I gotta, fine.
No, stop.
Really?
Stop. Your ode to Joe Burrow can wait.
I just want to catch a pass just once. Okay.
Ode
anyway,
to Burrow. Yeah.
We're getting sidetracked.
Of course,
as we do. But first, I kind of figured let's just start simple. Let's just go around. Let's start with Luke, go to Dad, and I'll close this. Like, who are you? A little bit about you, and like, what are some of like your top teams that you follow, or even like used to follow, or so just kind of like, what are some of your like, where's like your sports knowledge for the most part?
So my name is Luke, as previously stated. My teams, I jump around sometimes. I have jumped around in the past. I'm staying loyal now. I've said this before, and I will say it probably again.
Yeah.
Right now, in this moment, I love the Cavs. Cavs are my basketball team.
Good.
Reds fan.
I like it.
I am a Bengals fan, but I now have to be a Broncos fan over the Bengals, only because
we need an explanation
with
for
my
that.
friends, shout out friend group, Logan, Sam, Devin, Caleb, Gabe, we decided it would be fun to have like just a brand new team to just have like just for 1 year, like on loan, just to have for 1 year, just to spice things up a bit, because the football year can kind of get like, it's fun, but like it's besides fantasy, it's like there's that's kind of it besides the actual football part. Anyways, so we decided that it would be fun to just get together and like spin a wheel of teams, like of like all the 32 teams.
Wheel of fortune, but it's wheel
of misfortune, depending on what you got.
You got it.
And like whatever the wheel landed on, that was the team that we had to like root for. And mine was the Denver Broncos, which I
that's not a bad team to get. I kind of like Denver.
I think so. Peyton Manning in 2013 throwing 55 TDs and like over 5,000 yards. I mean, you can't hate the Denver Broncos.
Well, you can't if you're a Browns fan.
Why do you hate Denver?
Why do you hate
knocked
Denver?
us out of the AFC Championship game back in the
when you were like
80s.
Yeah, so
back
when the dinosaurs existed.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, anyway, keep going. I don't like this. I don't like this choice.
All that to say, I for this year, I have to be a Broncos fan over the Bengals fan. I'm still a Bengals fan. Clearly, I'm repping. If you're watching this on YouTube, so Broncos fan, Bengals fan, and then my NFC team is the Lions. Just because, how can you not like the Lions?
That's a good point.
What does your wife think? Because she's a strong Bengals fan. So you going Broncos for this year?
She wasn't a fan of it. I think I legitimately hurt her feelings.
Poor Emily.
When I was like, because I had her for a loop, because I started off as a Browns fan.
I know.
When we met.
I like to think me and Emily were the ones that convinced you to be a Bengals fan.
What's your little name and the little logo thing?
For anybody who has
Team
seen
commitment issues.
Yeah, for anybody, which I kind of. So shout out to
true.
I want to do a quick shout out to Justin Lucas, my roommate, my good friend. He's very very talented artistically, and so he came up with this logo, and
thank you, Justin.
Big claps.
Thank you.
Big claps for Justin.
He has Crohn's.
Keep going.
Anyway, it's okay. He would make that joke about himself. But he went out of his way to just design this incredible artwork for the podcast, which if you guys can see like this right here.
You've got that there.
Under
That's
each
great.
of our names is like our first and last name, but in the like our middle name is like our nickname. So Dad's is Poppy, obviously, which I kind of started calling him Poppy I don't know how many years ago. And so Justin was like, we're putting that as his middle name. He said, yours is I love Joe Burrow Jones. Grant, I love Joe Burrow Jones, which is very accurate.
appropriate.
Yeah, pretty. Which I could go on a tirade as to why I love that man, and we'll save that for a later episode. Respectfully, love that man. Luke's is one that I came up with. Luke Team Commitment Issues Jones, because Luke, for the longest time growing up, was the biggest bandwagon.
Yeah, totally. Still is, obviously.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
From the Browns to the Bengals to the Broncos to the Lions, bro.
I have to defend myself because I was a Browns fan because of the Bengals. The Bengals made me a Browns fan.
What?
It was
that makes zero sense.
Disloyal.
2015. 16, I think it was 2015 or 2016.
It was the year after
it was when
the
Andy
Bengals
Dalton got hurt.
And AJ
McCarron had to start that playoff game.
And the Steelers were...
And that was the
Vontez Burfict hit and all that stuff on Antonio Brown. Yeah.
I went to bed, and I was probably like 13, 14 when this is happening. And I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. I got a very real talk, and I was like, I just can't.
Pain.
Do this for myself. I was like, if I wanted this misery, I'd be a Browns fan. I was like, at least I know what to expect every year.
Not wrong.
That's what.
And so I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll be a Browns fan. I'll do it, and I did. And then Deshaun Watson came, and Jake Paul decided that he wanted. Dude, Jake Paul got like a jersey. I was like, you know what? That's it. I was like, I'm back to being a Bengals fan. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I was.
All right. So you got your teams.
Yeah.
Your Cavs,
Cavs, Bengals, Broncos, Lions. Do you have baseball team or no?
Yeah, Reds. I mean, I don't really keep up with baseball, but I would be happy if the Reds won.
I will say this about the Broncos pick. And the thing I like about the Broncos is they're an exciting team this year because they have a pretty cool potential future. Yeah. I like Sean Payton as their head coach. I think Bo Nix fits his system really well and has a lot of potential. I like where they're headed. So I will say this is a fun year if you have to be a Broncos fan, which I think it's a fun year to have them.
I think it's a fun time to be a Broncos fan.
I agree. Yeah. It's a bright future. As of now, you have a bright future.
Your quarterback.
Ahead of you. Yes, you have your quarterback. You have your quarterback and your head coach, and you have a good defense.
Yes, that's the best part of it. Unlike the Bengals, who have zero defense.
I've just started.
And I think too. I think this year this coming year is either going to be better or worse because I think the expectations are higher. Whereas this season it was like so low that like you could only go up. So
for
like
Denver,
yeah. So it was like, oh my word, like this is great because I thought we were gonna win maybe a game and that was it. Whereas next year it's like, oh, we made the playoffs. Like that's the caliber team. We
Teams aren't gonna sleep on them as much this year. I don't think either, which that'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's mine.
Okay, cool.
I like those teams. They're fun teams to.
At least I'm sticking with the orange.
Yeah, there's a lot of orange in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of orange in that.
a lot of orange.
Okay, so I'm gonna go.
There,
all right.
Yeah.
My
Take
teams
it away,
are all Cleveland teams. Grew up a Cleveland fan. I'm loyal to the bone. So Cleveland Browns for football, Cleveland Cavs basketball, Cleveland Guardians for baseball. Those are my teams. Pretty much follow them. Definitely the Browns and the Cavs more than the Guardians. I will follow the Guardians during the season in the sense of like just kind of keep tabs on where they're at in their division. Mm-hmm. Come playoff time, then I'll be watching more of the games. I'll catch a game or two during the season, but really it's probably more diehard Browns, diehard Cavs. Soccer, grew up a Crew fan, so love Columbus Crew, but now that we've got a local MLS team, FC Cincinnati.
SEC, baby.
Yeah, we're really kind of moving into them in the sense of just supporting them and excited about like what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, for a young team.
They've turned into a really strong
powerhouse.
Yeah, amazing.
Isn't this like the third year in a row they've been like a top top
tier team.
Top 5 team in the MLS?
For sure.
Like for 5 straight
impressive.
years?
So yeah,
3 straight years. Sorry,
no, you're good. So I think those would probably be my teams. That as far as NFC, I would team with Luke here on the Lions. We have family that live in Michigan, from Michigan, and so kind of grew up somewhat of a Lions fan. Anyway, those would probably be my teams.
Also, I have to shout out Gabe and Sam. They're my fellow Lions. They're my pack.
Yeah. Your pack of Lions.
Because I will say the only reason I really am as big of a Lions fan as I am is because one year Sam, he had, I think he was up in Detroit for a work thing and he had a free hotel and he was like, hey, it's like a 4.5 hour drive. Do you want to like drive with Gabe over to this hotel that we have with free hotel?
Yeah.
And we were just going to go see a Detroit Tigers game. We were even thinking about seeing the Lions.
Yeah.
And like right before I was like, we should go see if we could go see the Lions. Like it'd just be fun. I'm sure tickets are cheap. And thankfully they were home that week. We were able to see him, and it's so funny because like again we were gonna go there just to see the Detroit Tigers game. We stayed maybe like an inning or two, and we're like, this is stupid. So like we're going back. Yeah. And then we had such a great experience at Ford Field because it's just an awesome arena. Like it looks like a city in there. The Lions fans were all great. It was a great game. It was when they played the Seahawks, and it was like,
I was gonna say, wasn't that like a pretty significant game that you guys just happened to be at that season?
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was.
It was scoregami. It was like the total points was like 98 points.
Did you come up with that?
No, that's a real. Do you not know what scoregami is?
I have no idea what scoregami is. So
every time there is a new score that has never been made in an NFL game, it's called scoregami because it's the first time that score has ever happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so that was fun. We've been
I love that you're just I don't care.
Whatever.
So we've been a couple years in a row to those games, and I think we're gonna try to go again.
Yeah, that'd be fun
next season. But tickets have obviously skyrocketed.
Well, yeah, because they won 15 games this
really
season.
Good.
Yeah, because they're kind of
want to see them.
crazy, and their defense should be healthy next season. So
hopefully.
All right, G, you're up. Favorite sports teams.
All right, so my name's Grant. Obviously,
Jumanji.
Okay. My favorite teams, I like to think a lot of my friends would say this about me, that I am the biggest diehard Bengals fan. I've kind of been a Bengals fan for a while, but there was a time where I was like, yes, I was a fan, but I wasn't really paying attention because it was like after the 2015 season that Luke mentioned with like, frankly, I thought that season we were one of the because that was I think Cam Newton's MVP season too, and I genuinely thought we were a team that actually had like if we could have made the Super Bowl, we were a team that was good enough to the right time like all things come together. We could have beaten the Panthers that year. I was so excited about that team, and it's like that ended and that so like after that. Bengals went through like a really bad like 5 years of just like not being good, and I was still a fan, but like I wasn't paying as much attention. Enter Joe Burrow, and his first year, I will be the first to say I didn't think we should have picked Joe Burrow at that time. I think
there's no way.
I was one of the few people who said we should draft an offensive tackle.
A quarterback.
We are a British podcast.
I will never want to regret a decision or an opinion more in my life than the decision to take Joe Burrow in the first round. Because even though he got hurt that year, and I was even like, well, that's why we should have gotten a tackle. But then the next year, that man won me over, and I have been watching the Bengals so closely since that. And so I have turned into probably the most annoying Bengals fan that most of my friends probably know. So
that might be what you're more known as.
Probably the most close.
Probably like the worst fan that like people when they think of like an annoying fan
that could just not shut up about the
you're the reason why Bengals fans
I will say
probably.
You are that I think your loyalty like that's what's beautiful about it.
Well, and I think loyalty is like a little overrated, but
it's like blind loyalty.
Coming from the never mind.
There's a lot. I will say a lot of my takes. I'm going to try and be unbiased. But there will be a lot of players. It's going to be very hard for me on these nights where we like talk genuine opinions to not want to bring up a Bengals player's name for some of these things because I am just such a diehard Bengals fan.
So you have your football, okay?
That's my football guy.
I mean, it's Joe. Yes.
Joe. It's the Bengals.
Okay, so other teams.
I would say NFC. I'm probably also Lions. Dan Campbell has just like. Every time I watch that guy talk, I want to run through a wall for that man.
Kidding.
Like if he told me you need to go pick up a semi truck right now and I will make you a champion, I'd be like, yes, coach, I will go do that.
Campbell.
Yes, Coach Campbell. I love that guy. Never been a huge. I just don't really like baseball. Honestly, like if I have to pick a team, it's obviously the Reds. But like, I would much rather like. I'm one of those guys who's like, I don't watch baseball or care for baseball to the point where it's like, I'd rather the Bengals win their home opener than the Reds win the World Series. Like, that's just where my level of love of baseball is at right now. Yeah. Is that wrong? Maybe, but like, I've never been a huge baseball guy. So if I have to pick a baseball team, it's the Reds. And then soccer, Obviously FCC guy. I don't follow it as much as I used to, the sport in general. But I also love Chelsea. I've been a big Chelsea guy ever since
English Premier League.
EPO. Yes, and I love player-wise, I love Lionel Messi. I love Christian Pulisic. I love those names. Really fun. So I don't know. I'm a basketball Cavs guy. The only things I don't like, other than baseball, I don't follow college sports that much. I really think I need to get into it more.
Yeah, you should. It's good.
When I do follow, I'm a UC guy. I like the Bearcats, but they haven't really
graduated from UC
online. Yeah, I graduated online at UC. Go Bearcats.
UC Claremont.
So my college teams, when I do watch college, is UC Bearcats, but they're typically not in anything big lately. So it's Ohio State after that.
Yeah,
dude, you should have been an Ohio State fan this year. This was the year.
I know,
this was
right?
the year.
Well,
Go Buckeyes.
I was happy for them, man.
What?
Or Buckeyes. Big Ohio State.
Yeah, that's true.
I was kind of shocked you guys didn't bring up college.
My bad.
That's true.
But so I like Ohio State, and then if I had to pick a third team, other than whoever is playing Alabama at the time, I would say at least in basketball, I like Duke. Which a lot of our friends are going to hate me for that.
Yeah.
But because we have a lot of UK fans that we're friends with, but we've got family that likes Duke a lot, and I couldn't help but like root for them. So that's kind of like my. I like a lot of teams. My smorgasbord. My sportsgasbord.
Yeah,
sportsgasbord. I don't know. So, but yeah, that's kind of a little bit about us guys.
Yeah.
And just like who we like, who we follow, where our loyalties lie. You know what I mean?
Again, if you have loyalties.
I was gonna say,
for Luke, if you have
granting me where our loyalties lie.
And
I'm like a free agent every year.
Dad, you and I have been
NIL.
through especially in the NFL world, we have been through the absolute ringer.
Yeah.
And because the Browns lately, other than a couple years when Baker and Kevin Stefanski were together, have not, and I feel bad, but they really haven't done much of anything. And then the Bengals do this thing where they like to get my hopes up every year, except for like a few years when we, with Joe Burrow, we made the playoffs. Other than those years, they love to do this thing where they're like, yeah, we look good. And then we have a minimal chance of making the playoffs and like, oh, we might get in. Psych! And then just absolutely dash my hopes against the rocks. So we've been through the ringer in the NFL.
Yeah.
Team.
I will say the Browns won championships when it didn't matter. They won all.
What do you mean?
It was before the Super Bowl was a thing, right?
Existed. They won a bunch of them.
No.
And then there was a Baltimore.
No, that's
Baltimore.
And then they're
Browns.
like, "Oh, hey, now the NFL's legit."
Well,
Let's
you're
not
right.
do
You're
anything.
right on that. But I mean, they made a couple AFC Championship games. That's why I don't like the Denver Broncos because John Elway kicked us out both times. So I mean, I'm not a huge Denver fan for those reasons.
Yeah.
Our older audience will understand, I think. But yeah. Anyway, sorry. That's it. Okay.
All right.
Great.
So next on the agenda here that I've got is, so what is your favorite? We're going to get into some sports memories, right?
Okay.
Just like kind of keeping with the intro episode thing. What is you guys' favorite memory revolving around like professional sports or college, like NCAA? We're talking like actual sports teams.
Yeah.
On the TV, in like what you maybe even witnessed live, that kind of thing. Like what is your favorite sports memory revolving around like college or professional level sports?
Do you have one?
I'm pretty sure it's the same as yours, but you should go.
Okay.
I think it meant more to you, Dad.
Yeah,
I think you should share what we're all thinking.
I would say my favorite professional sports memory is 2016. We got it right here. Cleveland Cavaliers NBA champs.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That
for our listeners, he's holding up a hat that says 2016 NBA Cleveland Cavaliers champs.
Yeah. So that was an amazing moment. It was an amazing series, right? You have LeBron with the block. You have Kyrie. You have
for me as a Kyrie fan, that was gorgeous.
It was amazing. And so I just remember at that last game 7, right? I think.
Yeah.
And we're all upstairs and we're all watching on the television and the time is going down and we're like literally like all in front of the TV, like a foot away from the TV.
Yeah.
Or maybe a little farther, 2 feet away, but we're all standing watching this thing go down. Like the whole family. Like
Luke's friend Daniel was
Daniel
over.
was here. You remember
that?
Like
a sleepover
We're
to
having
Daniel Turner.
play video
we're
games,
do an
right?
all-nighter. We had 2 monitors, 2 Xboxes.
To play
down
like
the
Destiny,
basement.
right?
And then we looked at the
score.
Because they're from Cleveland, or grew up, they were Cleveland fans as well.
Yeah,
so
we looked at the score was tied. We're like, oh, we got to watch
I think
this.
we stopped what we were doing and came up to watch the rest of the game with you.
And so literally, like, they win, it goes all zeros, and the Cavs have won the championship. And I remember literally running out of the house into our side yard screaming, being so excited that they won, because this is something, like, as a Cleveland sports fan, winning championships is not something that comes often or ever. And so I think the fact that they won, you're just like, this is so crazy, and I got to see it. And to experience that with you guys was super fun too. So that would be like my professional sports memory, way up there.
Mine's probably the same. I think, just being able to experience that. Again, just coming back down from 3-1 is crazy.
The fact they were down 3-1, and there's like an iconic picture of now, right, of LeBron, and it's like LeBron's face with shades, and he looks dead serious, and the caption is, no team has ever come back from 3-1 in a final series ever.
I think,
and then that happens.
As a LeBron fan, a huge LeBron fan, it was great to see him, I mean, in my opinion, just like cement himself as like at least top 2. Yeah. Maybe not 2.
No, say it with your chest.
He's the GOAT, is what I'm saying.
I agree with that take. I think we're going to get a lot of hate for that, but I agree with you.
You guys are both, that's going on the record.
Here's what I'll say. No. Hold on. Before I say this, because this is my actual opinion, and I don't want to get ahead of myself before
You're going to change loyalties tomorrow.
I think that, real quickly, I think Jordan will always be the GOAT because of what he did for the game of basketball. I think LeBron is the best player of all time.
So who's the GOAT?
It's got to be, when you say GOAT, it's got to be Jordan, but I think best player of all time, I'm taking LeBron.
But isn't best player of all time also the greatest of all time?
I think greatest and best is not always the same thing.
What?
I think greatest is more so like...
Okay, hold on.
We're going down a rabbit hole here.
Okay.
We got to come back to it. That's another debate.
That's a debate. That's actually a debate for a future episode. That's a great debate for a future episode.
Anyways, just seeing Dad go crazy, take his shirt off, run around the neighborhood.
Did you take your shirt off?
I maybe
did.
Think you took
your shirt off.
I feel like you might have.
I don't remember. I blacked out.
It was just like seeing that, and then
totally sober too. By the way, just runs out, blacks
absolutely.
out, runs
Thank you.
Zero
Thank
alcohol
you.
was never had. So
that's right.
Yeah, it was just really cool. It was a really fun moment just to be there with everybody. It was really fun, and definitely something like I will always remember where I was.
Yeah,
and like that
very
memory
good point.
will always
That's a
stick
good way
with
to look
me.
at it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's gotta be number 1.
Okay, G.
Yeah. So I actually don't. I mean, I'm sure a lot of our listeners by now can probably just infer what mine is. It's January 2022, and the Bengals won the AFC Championship against the Chiefs.
That was pretty epic.
Yeah,
I was losing my mind. Because the significance of that, just first of all, I hate the Chiefs so much, even more than I did back then. But I can't stand the Chiefs. But to see the Cincinnati Bengals, who everybody writes off, my team, by the way, who a lot of people write off, and some for good reason. Like I understand, like I have issues like with even just the front office stuff. Like I get it, but to see my team give me legitimate hope, because remember, as a Bengals fan, we've gotten our hopes up so many years because the Bengals love to do that. They get your hopes up, they get to the playoffs, they lose in the first round. They get your hopes up, they might make the playoffs, they don't get it. That's the story of my life as a Bengals fan, right? That whole run, we win our first game against the Raiders. I was like, oh, we finally did it. We won a playoff game. We get to the next one, play the Titans. We beat the Titans. I'm like, we're in the AFC Championship game. We're playing the Chiefs. And you're telling me we win that game, we get to go to the freaking Super Bowl? I was floored. And I remember Luke was there with me. We were with a bunch of our friends from the Baptist Campus Ministry, by the way. And that was, we're all in this apartment, and Evan McPherson kicks that thing through the uprights. I start screaming.
I do have hearing loss from that. In my
Luke's ear. Yeah. I jump on him and I'm like, like in his ear.
It sounded like a little girl when Justin Bieber came on. Like it was bonkers.
I was a fan of a different JB at the time, but and still am. But that moment, it just gave me like real, like solidified real like hope. Not even just for that, but for the future.
Right?
Like,
yeah, exactly. That's
we
what I was
actually
thinking.
have someone at the quarterback position. We have talent at the wide. We have a talented enough team to, even despite our issues with the front office, they might just be able to get it done at some point. And it might not be, it wasn't last year, wasn't this past season, wasn't even the year they made it to Super Bowl. But just that little glimmer of like, we just might be contenders for the next however many years Joe Burrow is in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
That was a super special moment for me.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I loved that. That was so
Guys,
so
thanks
amazing.
for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to add too.
Okay.
I'll have to wait till this applause is done.
There you go. You're good.
The way they did it too, coming back down, they were down 21 to 3.
Oh, they were down
that's true.
7. I forgot
That's
they were
true.
down like 17 points or
at
something
halftime,
like
and then came back. It was just, it was awesome. It was sweet.
that.
Good memories. Good memories.
Back when our defense was a defense.
Ooh,
Top
that's
10
true.
defense. Yeah.
They had
true.
Jesse Bates and
Not a bottom 1 defense.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
that's a whole other.
Yeah.
But hey, Al Golden's in town. I like the hire. We just hired a new DC. I don't know. I think it was a mistake to let Lou Anarumo go. However, I do like the new defensive coordinator they hired. We'll see if he does better than Lou. I think he's going to be different. And maybe that's all it takes.
He likes to play a lot of man coverage, or at least he did at Notre
and rush
Dame.
the QB a lot.
Yep. So we'll see what happens. But
So we'll see.
another episode.
That's another episode.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, guys, those are some
It's good.
cool,
Good
pretty
memories.
special memories.
Yeah.
Good job.
Fun.
Yeah, I always love reminiscing about that Cavs series,
oh,
man.
man,
That's
guys.
got to go down as one of the greatest finals
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
of all time.
For sure.
I think
Like of all time, seriously.
the 2016 year of sports will
Pretty
probably
crazy.
be the best year of sports. I think.
What
probably
other things
forever.
happened during that year? It was
That's why it's the best year.
yeah.
nothing
'cause
else
it was
happened
No,
but
I'm
that.
just
well,
joking.
the Cubs.
I'm making
the
fun of
Cubs
Luke.
won, 'cause
Luke's
they came
because
back.
he's like,
yeah, the Cubs-
2016 is the best.
It was.
sports year. And you're
All
like,
right.
Harambe.
what else happened in 2016?
Well,
ahead.
who won
Harambe died in 2016.
The Patriots came back against the Falcons, 28-3.
Oh, that's
Yes.
true. Okay.
That's
okay.
right.
And then the
Nice.
Cubs came back down 3-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, against two.
Against the Guardians.
It was just
Yeah.
a year of comebacks.
Thank
and
you for that
championship
reminder,
things,
Luke.
yeah.
So you're welcome.
That's why it's not the great. Well,
Our
It was-
Atlanta,
it's
for
it's
sports,
true. Dude, could you
total.
imagine though? Like I was thinking, like, okay,
our Atlanta fans are crying.
No,
after
imagine
that
the
reminder.
Guardians win that series, and then the Cavs win.
The
Or
Cavs,
the Cavs won,
yeah.
and then the Guardians win the series. Dude,
Yeah,
it would've been-
Cleveland would have
man,
been
City would've been
rocking.
that was
down.
like no kidding.
There would be no Cleveland left.
that would,
after that.
that's okay. We won two championships.
Won
Yeah,
two
that's all you need.
championships, burn it
Retire.
down,
That's
start
retire
over.
the city.
We're done.
The
Retire
city,
the city.
the buildings-
We're handing over our keys, the keys to the city. We're done.
Yeah, we're done.
It's
The
over.
buildings have retired from standing.
That's
The
right.
homes have retired from being dwellable.
That's
They're-
right.
People have been
it is
evacuated
gone.
because they don't want to be there
People
anymore.
have been evacuated.
They got what they wanted, and that's it.
Time to change cities.
Anyway,
we got what
you're
we
right.
needed.
I take that back. That was a pretty good year of.
I
forgot about that.
because I was
Yeah.
like, I know it was a good
That's
good
cool.
one.
That's good.
Yeah. Good man. Way to bring that. I totally
Yeah.
forgot that was the year of the 28-3.
Nice memory.
Man, that's a
It's
good
Yeah.
good professional sports
Yeah.
memory. So keeping in line with the memories thing,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like our favorite memory associated with like professional sports.
Okay.
Next, I want to ask a different related question, right? What is your favorite memory revolving around sports? It doesn't have to be professional sports. It could be like just pickup stuff, any of that. That was either like really funny to you or just like holds a really special spot in your heart.
That's a good question.
I know what yours should be.
What mine should be?
Mine is
Yeah.
when Dad didn't have an answer for my question on our sports podcast and didn't come prepared.
Maybe some little middle school basketball.
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So-
let's do it.
So I was in 7th grade, and this is a sports memory, embarrassing memory, painful memory in some ways, literally, physically. So I was in 7th grade. It was a year of braces for me, which I had to wear for 4 years. Had that old school headgear, which now they can do all the stuff on the inside of your mouth. Back in the day, you had to wear like this contraption on outside your
like
head.
Iron Man.
Yeah, worse. Look like you had a face mask without the helmet. You know, I mean, it's what it looked like.
Just like the
bars,
the mouse bar, mouse bars,
just the bars,
mouth bars.
So anyway, so I have braces, and my dad and I would go play pickup basketball with some other fathers and sons from our church. So I'm 7th grade, so we are playing in this gym, and somebody's bringing the ball up the court from my team, and I'm a little farther down the court, and the guy who is dribbling and bringing the ball up the court, he passes me the ball, but I'm not looking for the ball. I'm still running down the court. And I wasn't too far from him. Wasn't whatever. I had my head turned, basically, going up court. And so he immediately, when the ball leaves his hands, he sees that I'm not looking, and he yells my name, Mark. And so in that moment, I hear my name, obviously, and I turn. And as soon as I turn, the ball hits me square in the mouth.
Dude, that's so
and
bad.
So the pressure and force of the ball pushes up against the lips in my mouth and up against then the metal inside my mouth, which then it began to cut the inside of my mouth open. And I can tell you that it hurt.
Yeah.
Badly.
You think?
It was very painful. So and I won't.
It hurts me just thinking about it.
I won't get into too more details physically because it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was gruesome. So it was gruesome.
Okay.
It was gruesome. So I think.
To talk about
so, anyways, that was something for me that is a memory, painful memory, obviously. But yeah. So
did you think that guy did that on purpose? Do you think he passed it to you and he like wanted to shout your name so you would look and get hit square in the face?
I was like, "Hey, Mark,
sucker!"
Cue atomic bomb.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cue atomic bomb footage.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was anything intentional, but I hope not. At least
if it's any consolation, your face looks
all right,
adequate now. So I guess it worked.
Got the job done.
Yeah.
Maybe it helped a little bit. I don't know.
I'm sure it did. So that's a sports memory, personal sports memory that I have.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
Luke,
anybody else? Yeah.
Luke, what you got, man?
There's a couple. I think funny, kind of embarrassing. I was a sophomore in high school on my JV basketball team. We were just terrible. It was so funny because we couldn't
Aren't some of those guys gonna maybe listen to the podcast though?
They will admit we were off. We were terrible. We were so bad.
Okay.
We lost every game by 40 plus. And it's sad because if you had a good play, say you crossed somebody up, drained a step back three, all the guy had to do is scoreboard, and you're you're right, that. Yeah. But it was one of the two games we won. I had my career high of 13 points.
Way to go, bud.
Led the team. Call
In
me
JV?
Kobe.
Wow.
Was this JV or varsity?
13 of our 33 points I had.
Was this JV or varsity? Okay.
I remember
JV.
that game.
And I'm taking some free throws, and I get really nervous on the free throw line because I have no confidence in myself to make free throws. So I go take the first one and I make it. And then I go to do the second one, and I shoot it, and then I step over the line before it hits the rim, so it's a free throw violation. I make that one, and I'm like, "Dang it!"
So you made your free throws,
and my
but
coach
the last
is
one
like,
didn't count.
"All right, okay, that's fine. Just don't do it again." Well, I get the free throw line again. I do the same freaking thing. I make the first one, and then the second one, which I also make, by the way. I should have had 15.
You're making them. You're nervous for no reason. You just keep stepping over the line.
Swishes. They didn't even touch the rim. I just went straight in. And I step over the line again, and they call me for a free throw violation. I look at my coach. I'm like, oh! He's like, it's okay.
Did a little Italian thing.
Mamma mia, I mean, it's a free throw. I need to make it a free throw. Where's my lasagna?
And I was I just remember being I was embarrassed, but it was also kind of funny. The bench was dying laughing because it was the second time one time is okay, that happened, but two times in the same game.
The bench is made up of a lot of your friends too, who I'm sure are just heckling you.
It was really, right? It was funny.
Yeah.
That's good. You said you had another one or no?
There are a couple.
Do you have a more special one or just another funny one?
any basketball player knows this, but this was in a JV game, breakaway, nobody on me, just whiff the layup. And that always stings.
Yeah.
And then another funny memory is we part of, I guess it's called J term, but it was like the week before you come back from, I guess the week after you come back from winter break in high school. They call this thing, it's called J term week. You have like two classes that you sign up for, one for the first half of the day, one for the second half of the day. The second half class that I did was like a gym class, and at the end of the week on Friday, there was like everyone in the gym class, they did like a 5v5 basketball game, and like the whole school basically would come and watch it. And our team, it was so stupidly stacked. We got all the like basketball players on our team like played basketball for high school, and the other team did not.
Remember you telling me about this. Yeah.
And we thought it would be funny to like dress up, so we like wore like white like button down t-shirts and then like khaki shorts and like bow ties, and yeah, we balled out. Not to brag, I probably had like 30 some points in that game. It was fun, but it's just a fun time. But that's probably them.
I remember you telling me about that, and I'm just like, that's the biggest flex to show up in dress clothes and then just you basically emoted on them like as you're like, that's the equivalent of like emoting it on.
And from the entire school is pretty bad.
Yeah, like you embarrass them.
Yeah, like listen, it was not my idea. Clothes. It was not my idea. I never would have said this, but they all were like, we should do. I was like, I mean, I have to. I can't be the only one not doing it. I will say my high school coach saw us playing and he was like appalled.
I can imagine.
He was like, that was the worst basketball I've ever seen. I'm like, Coach, we dropped more in that game than we have combined on all our games. I don't know if this might be a you problem. It's like,
I will say, I thought that when I was watching the few times I came and watched you guys play, I think if you guys were allowed to do a little more street ball-ish, like street ball-esque playing, I think you guys would have done a lot better.
Well, it sounds like it because it...
Well... Although it was against a bunch of kids who didn't play basketball, so it was like
okay, fair. But still, I feel maybe if you guys were like a little more loosey goosey, might have been able to do it. I don't know.
It would have been more fun, that's for sure. Because even though we're losing, like we're going to lose anyway. You know, like
losing anyway. Let me if we're losing anyway, let me take a full court backward shot over my. Woo!
Just like the worst part.
I drained it. Sweep. Now we're only down 27.
Cuts the lead to 42.
Chris Paul cuts the lead to 42.
It's the dagger to cut the lead to 42. Yeah. Anyway, I will say I think as a coach, like, because every game he would come in and be like, I think like if we do these things, we'll win, and I'm like. No, we won't. Like, there is no amount of coaching you could do. We get Doc Rivers in here. Like, we're not. Greg Popovich isn't going to save this team.
Yeah.
Coach K could not do anything.
It was also the fact that he had such like emotional stake in the game, to where like as a JV team, we were getting beat so bad. He sits. We take a timeout, and he's talking to all of us on the bench, and he's like, "You're embarrassing me." And I was like, "Dude, we're embarrassing ourselves."
Exactly. Like, this is exactly what you want to hear as a developing man in high school.
We're embarrassing ourselves.
Like, this isn't just a youth thing.
Hearing that from a coach of "you're embarrassing me" is like, you're in high school, you're developing into a man. That's the last from an authoritative figure you're supposed to look up to. You're like, how'd I do, coach? You're an embarrassment.
Yeah, like he's like, you're embarrassing me.
Great, that's gonna help my self-confidence growing up into college.
At least you could have been like, you know what, like, you just go out there and do your best and like whatever. There was none of that.
Yeah, just score points.
It was
try to score a point.
Try everything at this point.
Try to score a basket. Someone, please. All right. We got to move on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
let's go.
I think we're doing okay on time.
We're
about halfway. Well, I gotta share mine. I forgot about that. I gotta share mine. But we're about halfway in, so we're doing all right. But yeah, I don't know if I have a super funny one. I know you probably have one for me. I'll let you tell the funny one for me. The special one though that I have is very much recency bias. So Luke and I especially have this past like year and a half, almost 2 years, have started playing a lot of indoor volleyball. And we over the course of that time, I like to think I've gotten a lot better. Like, I feel like I'm a much different player than I was. And a lot of that is credit to the people we play with. We play with some really good competitive people, even just for pickup. But some of these guys play league, and some of these guys like play with each other in club. And so it's really fun, really competitive. And it's really like pushed me a lot. But Luke and I decided this past fall, let's actually do recreational, but let's do a volleyball league, and let's do like intermediate volleyball league. Let's do it. And we got some of our friends together. So quick shout out to Chase, Ravi, Josh, and Jared, our volleyball teammates. We had an absolute blast playing with these guys. But we went, I think, 6-2 on the season, made the tournament, and then we just ran. We had one of the toughest schedules, I think, of all the teams in it, because you don't know, there were 10 teams, so you don't always play everybody. I think we had every single one of the top teams in our schedule.
We definitely play one
in the tournament. You're saying
not in the tournament, just in the regular season.
Well, the tournament, we were the 3 seed, and we played the number 2 seed and the 1 seed in the final.
Awesome.
So
that's great.
And we won our tournament. And I think the reason why that is just like a moment of kind of like pride is just like it's the culmination of how much work. Like, I know I've still got so much room to improve, but like it's the culmination of a lot of work I've tried to put in to get better at something that I haven't experienced that since I played soccer when I was like 15. And so that felt like so cool to like get this. They walked out with this big trophy that I didn't even think we were going to get a trophy. I was like, this is freaking huge. Which the team, I'm so glad the team let me take it home because now it sits in a spot where every time I wake up, I can see it.
Yeah. I mean, no one wanted it.
No
more
idol
than you,
or anything like that.
Ravi, our setter, I think we did offer it to him, but he was like, my dog will tear this to pieces. And so do you want it? I'm like, I tried to play it off like, yeah, I'll take it, but I'm like, absolutely, I want to take the trophy home. So yeah, just the culmination of a lot of work. And just even the friendships that we've, like, I've got some amazing, like, new friendships just from playing volleyball, not even just in the league, but just in general, and just the connections through that. So that's like cool. A really special special memory for me that we kind of got to experience back in, I think, November. Yeah. The culmination
that's cool.
So.
Yeah, I mean, too, just, I mean, you know where you started and like seeing yourself get to a point to where, oh my word, like I'm on a championship level team in a league.
And again, intermediate rec
still,
league.
Like there's something, I think that's something that's beautiful about sports, right? So we're talking, sports fam here. I think there's something about being on a team where you individually are getting better, but you get to experience it with other people as well. There's something so valuable in that. I think that, that's why even as a parent, like having you guys play soccer when you were younger or basketball or whatever it might be, I think there's some great lessons that can be learned through sports, which is pretty incredible. So
I agree.
Yeah. Can I tell are you okay if I tell the funny one that's coming to my mind?
Yeah, I do want to just say that, especially just again for our teammates, we had like part of the reason I think Luke and I, and if any of those guys are listening, part of the reason Luke and I had such a great time was because the team that we assembled, we're not talking just like Avengers level talent, right? But like they were the perfect blend of competitive, but we all were like, we picked each other up when we were down.
That's cool. And that's what makes it all the more fun and meaningful.
Yeah. And I feel like I felt like I even grew closer to those guys as we played, because it's like now we're not just like friends, we're teammates. Yeah. And there was like a level of chemistry you had to build. And so like, yeah, man, I don't know. I love talking about that stuff. So I had a great time. I think
there's value in that for sure.
Absolutely. But yes, I'll let Dad tell the funny one because I think his perspective of it was better. This go.
Well, and Grant's given me permission to share this, so just
that's fine.
Say that up front.
Like this happened,
when you were 9 or 10, and we lived in Ireland, Dublin, Ireland at the time. And we put the boys in sports, right? And one of the sports that they were involved in was soccer.
Football.
Well, and so Grant became part of this team, and they were playing a match, and and Grant is playing. I think you're playing a wing position or something like that.
I don't even think I was a wing. I always is midfield for the.
I don't know, but anyway, the guy from the opposing team is a throw-in, I think. right? Or something.
Let me stress. I have been.
Crazy.
Let me stress.
Do you remember this?
I wasn't there, but I remember you telling me.
Yeah. Anyway,
I have been built poorly for most of my life until I decided, hey, I should actually eat food and work out. And so I weighed like nothing.
Dude,
so I think part of the problem with this story is I was just
behind a telephone pole.
I was ridiculously skinny.
He was very slight.
Yes.
At the time. And so the kid throws the ball in and hits Grant square like in the chest.
Which you can do in soccer.
Right.
It's called a chest trap.
Yeah, of course.
I did not understand this at the time.
Yeah, so it hits Grant square like in the chest, like right in that cavity, like, and you're just like and he just like loses his air.
I deflate.
Deflate gate.
Yeah, he completely deflated him. Perfect.
It's like a balloon for sports.
Yeah, it was just like and all of a sudden, like there's no air in
Honestly, this is the first time I've ever experienced this feeling too.
So the sound that came out of Grant was like a dying pterodactyl or something like. Like it was just.
Bro turned into Wheezy the Penguin from Toy Story.
Yeah, it was, and and as a dad, you're like, are you okay? Like in my mind, I'm watching
You're
this. Like,
asking me, am I okay when I can't form words? I'm like, are you okay? Like,
that's about what it was. And all of a sudden,
breathe.
And it was crazy. So I mean, it wasn't funny in the moment, but now looking,
of course, it wasn't funny in the moment.
He almost died.
This is the first time I've got the wind knocked out of me. Maybe in my life, knowing all I can think of is I need air.
Can you imagine that being the first? Like that's the first thing. That's your first time experiencing that. Do you think you can ever breathe again? Like you don't know. Like I might not
never taken breathing for granted so much more than in that moment in my life.
But then now looking back, you're like, he was like 9 or 10. I mean, that was
I'm just a wee lad.
15 years ago, and you're
he's just a boy.
Anyway, I mean, it was, and now it's funny because just the look in your eyes, and and you're like, what?
Panic.
I don't know if the camera can pick it up.
It was complete panic. I mean, again, in the moment,
like
right?
A zombie
like a beached whale.
Or like a zombie from World War Z, man.
Like as a dad, you're like super concerned, but then once you realize, okay, he just got the wind knocked out of him, he's gonna be okay. Yeah,
just inflate him back to
let's inflate Grant. Come on, guys, gather around.
I mean, it wouldn't take that many. I mean, you were so scared.
Oh man.
Anyway,
all right. So that's my funny moment. Anyway,
I love that
funny moment.
Good job, guys.
Man, those are some good memories. High fives all around. Good memories.
Good job.
Good memories, guys. Man, I love reminiscing about that stuff. I think it's time we get into more like we're probably going to do more of this kind of stuff for future episodes, like getting into like real more sports-esque topics, right? But obviously this is the intro episode, so I wanted to have a little fun with this. But the NFL awards are coming up.
Yes, they are.
And I've got a few categories I want to go through. And obviously, like, I think this is where we kind of get into the personal opinions and personal, like, takes on stuff. Bro, are you good?
What is going on? Luke is having
Luke's having a strong. I don't know what's happening right now.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Real
Gatorade toxic waste. Sorry, that's an inside joke. That's an inside joke.
Composing myself.
So I want us to take.
You want to take a what?
I want us to go over the MVP. Who we think MVP should be.
Okay.
Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Defensive Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. Now, I know there's more awards than that, listeners.
We're talking NFL, just so everybody...
Yes, just
LeBron
to be clear,
James
we're talking...
should win all of them.
Well, I did say NFL.
Okay.
I did say NFL awards, I think. But, well.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, guys, pay attention. Anyways, yeah, so I want us to at least hit those. I know we could, like I said, there's comeback player of the year, coach of the year, all that stuff. I think these are just like the big five, in my opinion. Dude, I'm just trying to be serious.
No, go ahead. Go.
I'm just like, Luke.
That gave me this goofy little smile.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry.
You see what I have to deal with?
We are delinquents.
Yeah, we are. So I want us to start with the first one, the bigger award, right? Let's talk MVP.
Okay.
There's multiple people that obviously got nominated, especially like there's a big four, especially. I want to start with Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Who this year is your NFL MVP?
Give me LaMarvelous.
LaMarvelous, as in
really
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
I think. Listen,
I don't think that's that hot of a take.
I think the race is probably between. It's definitely just between Lamar and Josh Allen because Joe Burrow didn't make the playoffs. I think he just outpaces Josh Allen in literally every category except for wins. I mean, he is throwing up numbers that no one has ever seen for a running back. Like, remember people were coming out and we're like, yeah,
doesn't
he
now lead the league in all-time rush yards now?
Yeah, well, it's just crazy.
He's close to it. I can't remember.
I mean, you talk about like dual threat. Like he's genuinely a dual threat. He can do it in the air, like clearly.
He proved this year that like he is a good passer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's putting up just insane numbers all around. Like the lack of interceptions, touchdowns.
Like 4 or 5 interceptions on the season. I could be off, but something like single digit, low to mid single digit interceptions this year.
It was crazy. I think he should have won MVP. I think the stats prove that. He only had a couple less wins than Josh Allen. And people would be like, well, he has Derrick Henry. I mean, yeah, but also like
Josh Allen also has James Cook. Like James Cook's a good running back.
But he's not Derrick Henry.
No, he's not. But still.
I will say I think that like that shouldn't matter as much. I mean, I think that the stats that he puts up, he's putting up these stats with Derrick Henry. It doesn't make any sense for people to be like, well, he has Derrick Henry. Yeah,
so they're going to hand the ball off more.
Right? You just hand the ball off all the time. He won't need to throw. But the fact that he is putting up these numbers, he's super accurate, not a lot of turnovers, and tons of touchdowns. To me, it's
second most touchdowns in the league, I think, right?
Yeah, and behind Joey B.
behind Joe Burrow, yeah.
I think, to me, it seems pretty obvious that it should be Lamar. I think that Josh Allen definitely has a case for it. I don't think that if he wins, I'm going to be like, Lamar was completely snubbed. This is ridiculous. But I think that between Josh Allen and Lamar, I'm definitely taking Lamar.
Okay. And I think that's not terrible. I actually think that's a good take. Dad, who's your pick for MVP?
I want to hear yours first.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah.
So, for the longest time, I also was saying Lamar Jackson. My biggest issue with the MVP award is they need to take playoffs into account more.
Absolutely.
Because I think the ability to, and it's not even so much about winning record, because I don't know how much we should take record into account, especially and again, this is where maybe some of my bias is coming out here. I think Joe Burrow absolutely should get MVP, but I know he won't because of record, so I'm taking that out of it and saying aside from him. But he has literally had to put the team on his back some games and outshoot his opposing. The only reason they even ended up with a winning record is because of his stats and what he had to do this season. So I think at least he's my what's the runner up, or if perfect scenario in my world,
if they
made the playoffs, or if the record didn't matter, he should get it.
In a vacuum,
just
looking up stats.
In a perfect world, he should be MVP, in my opinion. However, Lamar, like Luke said, in every was just dominant, except for the few categories Burrow outplayed him in, right? Yeah. Just putting up crazy plays, crazy numbers. However, I think it's got to be Josh Allen, because I think you have to take into account a little bit of the clutch factor. And Lamar in the playoffs turned the ball over. And I know they were playing the Bills. I don't want to discount. I was like, okay, well, it wasn't like they were playing the Texans or something, which, Texans actually had a pretty good defensive performance. But they were playing the Bills, but Josh Allen didn't turn the ball over. I don't think he turned the ball over. I don't know if I watched that one, but I'm pretty sure Josh Allen didn't turn the ball over. Lamar, he did, I will say, he did really well trying to keep his team in. He almost won the game with that drop.
I will say, the only reason I'll say this is because besides the interception and I guess, was it 2 interceptions? Interception and a fumble, Lamar beat Josh Allen in every category.
Yes, but turning the ball over
it is big.
It's a huge thing.
It is big. I will say it is big.
That is a huge deal. And I will say Josh Allen has also had that problem. He did it against Cincinnati. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah. He turned the ball over once or twice, and Cincinnati capitalized on it and destroyed them in the snow. That is a big deal. But this year, that was a dope game. Yeah. But if we're going just by this year, Allen also didn't have the receiving cast that Lamar did.
Lamar had Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar, Rashad
Mark
Bateman,
Andrews, and we're gonna talk. Are we gonna pretend that Derrick Henry wasn't also a kind of a receiving threat this year? Like,
it's okay. Listen,
are you kidding? Okay, hold on. Do you want to look up Derrick Henry's receiving stats?
No, I don't look.
You don't want to because he's not a receiver.
But I'm just saying, okay.
That's crazy.
Well, Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir, and Keon Coleman. I mean, like.
I will say his receiving cast is worse than Lamar's. I will say that. Yeah. But it is crazy
and
to say
his running back is worse than
I also think if people are going to, and this is where I'm going to call out the double standard. If people aren't going to consider Joe Burrow to be in this category because, he has an elite receiving cast, well, then you also have to consider the players who do it without. You can't have a double standard, in my opinion.
I would agree, but I think you can't say that Lamar didn't do that. Like, he also did it without an insane receiving cast.
No, but I would say he did it with a better receiving cast.
I would say probably better, but it's not like it's Joe Burrow having Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Okay, but here's the deal.
Totally different.
I want to reiterate, I was on the Lamar Jackson train up until the playoffs. I think just the inability to play clutch down the stretch should matter. And so with that being said, and it was really close, that playoff game influenced my decision. And so now I say Josh Allen because he also had a great, spectacular season. I just think that he was able to get it done further into the playoffs than Lamar was. And that is why I'm picking Josh Allen for MVP. That's my take.
I don't think it's a bad take. I just think that
we can disagree. That's fine.
Derrick Henry, you saying Derrick Henry as a third receiver for Lamar is crazy.
I will say this.
I know, but he can be a receiver there. Have you seen?
Well,
him
hold
in
on.
Dude?
I'll push on that a little bit because it's not so much to me that Derrick Henry is a receiver, but he is a weapon, and I think that does. That makes a big difference in the sense of like, this is okay. So. You want me to go? Or
go for it, man.
I think
I've talked for a while.
I'm not sure exactly where I land on this. I do. My take is I think I would lean Saquon Barkley as MVP.
That's fair.
I would lean him. I think his numbers, bar none, are above not just anyone else's in the league, but historical. At the running back position.
Yeah,
I think what he's done too, and I don't know much about the Eagles like O-line.
It's good.
Is it good?
I feel like they always, and even with the players they pick up, whoever's the offensive line coach at the Eagles is not getting paid.
Let me tell you,
they can take players who come from other teams and turn them into starters.
Yeah. So I think I want Saquon Barkley to win it just because I feel like he's deserving of it. I just don't think they like giving the award to running backs for some reason.
I mean,
unfortunately,
it's a quarterback award pretty much.
I would go Saquon Barkley just for the fact of that what he's done is historical. Without him, the Eagles aren't even.
That's true.
Dude,
if we're talking the actual most valuable player, the Eagles are not in the situation they're in without Saquon.
But you could say that about any of the other guys. Like you take Josh Allen away from the Bills.
You take Lamar, absolutely. They're not in that situation.
I think, but that's why they're up for MVP. So I would lean
Burrow away from the Bengals. It's the same situation.
Yeah, I would lean Saquon Barkley. I think Josh Allen would get. I think he'll get it.
You think Josh Allen will?
I do, and I think because
the narrative has set up Josh Allen.
I think so too.
I think they. I don't know if they. Wins and losses are important.
It is important.
And he's got a couple more wins than Lamar does. I think maybe his stats don't show it as much, but I think
he still has good stats, though. I mean, it's not like he's had bad stats either.
It's not like he's bad. It's just you've also got QBs like Burrow and Lamar putting up 40-plus touchdowns and single-digit interceptions.
But again, I think the wins and losses, I think that's how they look at it. Like,
sure.
If that's the case, then if not, then you could have a losing team player win the award. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but I think based upon kind of what we've seen in the past, I think Josh Allen will probably win it. I would be surprised if he doesn't, because I think he edges out Lamar.
I think the playoff. I will say I think the playoff
I think it should matter. I think the playoff thing should matter.
Even though they say it doesn't, I think it does.
I think it does.
I think
it does.
It should.
Because I know it's like a regular season vote.
Your ability to play good down the stretch and play like smart down the stretch too. I think that should matter. Yeah,
we got to move on, or we're not going to get through all of them. But I would. Those are
we can go faster through the other ones. But this is the big one I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, so you've got Lamar, you've got Josh Allen. Yes. I've got Saquon. I don't think he'll win it.
Yeah,
I don't think Josh Allen wins it's a quarterback award now,
but
which
I hope he wins. I think he's deserving of it.
Too, just really quickly, especially looking at his performances in the playoffs, Saquon's.
Hands down. Yeah.
I mean, we just basically the game is now over, and he's put up how many yards and 3 rushing touchdowns in
I don't know.
one game? I mean, unreal. Yeah, that was fun getting into some. That was some good debates. I like that. I will say quickly, I do agree. I think records should matter. I think if the record is off by like a game or two, I don't think if both candidates are that close and they both made the playoffs, I don't know how much that should be taken into consideration. I think if it's a great like record gap, I don't know. That's just my take. Yeah. But I'll just go quickly. Okay. You mentioned because it's a quarterback award, I'm giving Josh Allen offensive player of the year. I'm going to give it to Saquon. Okay. I just everything Dad said and then some. That man is a monster. I mean, he leaves the Giants and goes on to the Eagles, and they're at this point they probably have won the NFC Championship. I would assume they're in the Super Bowl. I mean, mostly because.
And this is his first year, right, with the Eagles.
First year with the Eagles.
Like that's saying
you give that man a dude. Yeah,
I know it's crazy.
You give that man a great O-line, and he torches defenses.
It's incredible.
It's unreal.
Yeah, anyway, okay.
Honorable mention, though, I have to mention Jamar Chase. The man won the Triple Crown. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Okay.
He beat out the next best person by how many yards?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I don't necessarily disagree with you.
At least 2 yards he beat him out by.
Okay.
All right, Luke, who's your offensive player of the year?
I think it should be Joe Burrow. I mean, he has the most passing yards, most passing TDs. I think it probably will be Saquon. I think it should be Saquon. Like, I do think it should be Saquon.
Yeah. If MVP is a quarterback award,
I think it should be Saquon. Yeah. Obviously either Saquon or Jamar, but I would probably put Saquon just because I think running back seasons like this don't happen often.
Right. They don't.
I think as much as Jamar has won the Triple Crown, I mean, which is rare. We've seen receptions like that before. We've seen, and them not win, I mean, just receptions like that. We've seen yards like that. We've seen TDs like that.
Sure.
And I think that Saquon's done something that just doesn't really happen for a running back. Honestly, thank you, Saquon and Derrick Henry, for bringing running backs back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree.
Seriously, because remember all the drama going on with running backs.
Yes.
Yeah. Running backs matter.
Did you see that they Saquon and Derrick Henry had a group chat of all the running backs? They were like, this is we're gonna try to bring back the position and the importance of it, and clearly
it matters.
It worked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I want Saquon to win it. But yeah, I think I'm really thankful that Saquon had the year that he did. I think running backs and longevity of running backs, the position should be valued more.
Yeah.
But I think too, because again, receivers had a down year. I mean, they really just did.
You mean every receiver except for Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown?
No, seriously, even for them, it was. Listen, if you look up last year's top 10 in the receiving yards, and you look up this year's top 10 receiving yards, it's a significant drop off.
I just don't want to, by saying that, discount. And again, bias is showing a little bit, but I don't want to discount.
Bias is showing a lot.
It is, but I don't want to. I don't want to discount.
Bengals lover, you
winning the Triple Crown is amazing.
100% agree.
Yeah, and I'm like, if people are going to be that excited over Cooper Kupp winning it, we should be that excited about Jamar Chase winning.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Cooper Kupp's season was a little bit different. He almost broke. He was super close to breaking the yards record.
Okay, well,
his receptions were. I mean, if you compare them side by side,
yeah,
and I won't argue.
Cooper Kupp
so your offensive player of the year is
Saquon, and runner-up would probably be Jamar.
Yeah, and I would agree with that.
Okay,
that's good.
Yeah, I would agree. I think offensive player of the year, I would definitely go Saquon. I think again, it's hard to argue that, in my opinion. I mean, any of the MVPs could also get Offensive Player of the Year. I think Joe Burrow has to be in the running for Offensive Player of the Year. Obviously, Jamar Chase
he needs to be considered for MVP.
So, I just think those would probably be where I would lean. I hope Saquon gets it. I just think he's deserving of it.
I agree. I hope so.
If he doesn't win either MVP or Offensive Player of the Year, someone's going to get mad.
He could have. He had the chance to break the record, and he chose not to. I mean, that's
what a leader.
I mean, well, and I'm just saying, like he could have easily broken it,
all that stuff,
and he chose not to. So
even touchdowns too. I mean, there's so many times you see clips of him being like do whatever, like just get the touchdown.
It doesn't have to be me. Yeah.
So, anyway,
he wants to win, and you gotta love that about him.
And doing all that while his mindset being "I just want to win" is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's to be commended.
Pretty awesome.
Doing what he did, knowing he could have gone, and done more, is like this is. He's basically saying, "This is me at 80% of my power."
Yeah, but in his mind too, there's not that he's thinking this. I'm guessing he's not. Yeah. But like, there's something pretty sweet about that to like
just being like, I left the Giants.
I'm not even trying.
I still had a ton left in the tank, and I can't bowed out.
I can't be sure exactly what was said, but I want to say I saw a clip of the Giants either coach or owner being like, it's not like look over there. It's not. What's he gonna do? Run for 2,000 something yards? And he's like, as long as he doesn't go to the Eagles or something like that. And both happened.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty amazing. Anyway,
so we really do need to breeze through this because we are kind of. So we're just gonna make this real quick.
Okay.
Defensive Player of the Year. Personally, I saw Pat Surtain's stats.
I think it should be Pat Surtain.
I think it should be Pat Surtain. A lot of times it's the leader in sacks.
Yeah, I was going to say Trey Hendrickson.
I think.
But the
he
defense
should
was
be
so terrible that I think people put that into account.
And that's what sucks about how many Bengals players could be up for awards if their team won. But
I don't think that matters. And for these awards, in my opinion, I don't know if that matters as much. That's why I think Hendrickson should get it.
Okay, and
that's incredible what he did on a bad defense.
17 and a half sacks when you are the only pass rushing threat, so they literally can just double you.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I think he should get it.
It's crazy.
So anyway,
but I also like not wanting to be biased. I did look up Pat Surtain's stats. Hold on. So when they did target Pat Surtain, because they didn't want to target him because of how good he was, he only allowed 37. I'm pretty sure I got this right because I want to say I looked this up on PFF. I want to say I read he only allowed 37 receptions all season.
That's crazy.
That is nuts.
4 interceptions, and he graded second overall among cornerbacks this season. I did write a note here about Trey Hendrickson. I do think he needs to be at least considered in the race way higher because, and I wrote, because of what he has had to work with and still being the sacks leader, but I give it to Surtain. Quarterbacks are afraid to throw the ball when he's on the field.
Do you see the stat, too, that opponents' QBRs, their QB ratings, are lower when they target Surtain than what they would be if they
Surtain?
I don't know.
Yeah.
PS2.
Yeah.
My goat.
The PlayStation 2.
Which is a sick name. And it would be higher if they threw the ball and just every down they just threw the ball into the ground every time than if they targeted Patrick Surtain.
Yeah. Okay. Who's next? I want to go. I said Surtain.
Hendrickson for me.
Hendrickson. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think it speaks for itself.
Sacks leader with minimal defensive help.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's, I look at, they gave it to Garrett, last year? Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, yeah.
And the Browns did okay. And, and the Bengals ended up with a winning season. So I still think, to me, Hendrickson is worthy of it to get the sacks that he got, to lead the sacks, to beat out guys like Garrett, some of these other leaders on the defense, and on a poor defense that was bad.
He beat out guys who had better defensive rosters.
And I don't know. And two, I think that's saying he's in a tough division.
Yeah.
AFC North. So anyway. Physical.
Dude, that's actually kind of crazy when you think about it. He's in a division where the other defensive players are
the other top 2 defensive ends are probably
TJ Watt, Marlon Humphrey, and
that's saying something.
Anyway, I like that take. I also would agree with that. Luke, defensive player of the year. Anyone else?
No, Patrick.
Pat Surtain, PS2 baby.
Batty boy.
All right. Let's make this fast. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Jaden Daniels. That man has had an
absolutely hands down.
This has got to be one of the best rookie seasons I've ever seen.
Dude, yeah. I mean, like what do you mean? Like with rookies in general, or
just his season?
His season's been good too.
I'm saying his season. Yeah. Even in consideration with other rookies, especially quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, the man. I mean, I'm sure it's got to be over at this point. They've lost. Unfortunately, the man took the Washington Commanders. Washington Commanders to an NFC championship in his first year.
I can hear when you bump the table.
Yeah. Grant's getting a little passionate. People.
Judge Grant.
Yeah. And I also want to point this out because I'm very proud of this. I said this to Luke before the season started. The top 3 quarterback prospects were who? Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. And I said, and I want to make sure that you will back me up on this. I said, I think Jaden Daniels. I said, I think Jaden Daniels will be the best out of all 3. And I was right.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Can I get some claps for that, please? Yes, thank you.
Grant was right about a sports
I was right about a sports thing.
It doesn't happen often or ever.
I know. I was very proud of that. Anyway. Yes. I also had some other good predictions.
I would say, Jaden Daniels, I would agree with you.
Yeah,
to me, it's not an argument.
Do we have any?
And that's a good pick. You'd make a good GM because you picked that out early on.
So the Giants GM's kid who was like, you should trade up and draft.
Dude, there's footage. There's literally footage of the. I know. The footage of the Giants GM stuff is hilarious because of all the times he was wrong and then other teams benefited from it. Yeah. His kid going, you should trade up for Jaden Daniels. I really like him. And then Jaden Daniels does this with the Washington Commanders in their division. They're in the same division as the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Dude, amazing.
The front office never should have allowed themselves to be on Hard Knocks because it just shows how bad they are.
And they're like,
I know.
When they said something like, I mean, Daniel's going to be throwing the ball. I mean, how often are we going to hit the ball? I don't know, something like that.
Crazy.
I don't want to quote it directly and be like, that's exactly what they said, but it was pretty bad.
I think Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors.
Brian Thomas Jr. had an amazing season.
Malik
Neighbors looks good.
This has been one of the better, as far as a rookie class.
Yes.
I think it's been insane. I mean, you look at this year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Brian Thomas had over 1,000. Neighbors had over 1,000. Brock Bowers, a tight end, had over 1,000 yards.
Yeah. He was up there with leading almost. He was competing with Jamar Chase for receptions towards. I mean, at one point, Jamar just outclassed him.
Bo Nix too. Bo Nix had a great year. Even listen, it was so stacked that even Caleb Williams kind of had an underrated year.
He didn't have that bad of a year.
I mean, he really didn't. But when you compare it to Jaden Daniels and even Bo Nix, you're like, oh well.
Yeah. I think
just hard to live up
to. And I thought Drake May play well.
Yeah.
He's just on a poor team right now.
He is.
So, but I thought I think they've got their quarterback in him.
Yeah. You can build
as well
around
as
him.
Caleb Williams for the Bears, which I think is great for any Bears fan. I think, and you got a great coach coming in.
Dude, I think Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams could be a scary duo.
Could be good.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Defensive Rookie of the Year, which I want to preface, I did not follow this race too much.
I don't even know.
I usually am a very offensive-driven guy.
You and every other NFL coach.
Yeah. No kidding.
But based upon what I looked up, I think for a while it was between Quinyon Mitchell and Jared Verse.
I don't even know who the Quinyon Mitchell is.
He's a rookie.
He's doing really well
for the Eagles.
Corner, yeah.
He is. Oh, he is so good.
He's doing really well. Which, dude, the Eagles
are really good.
I saw a video that said the Eagles declared war on wide receivers this year because they were just getting abused through the air last season. So they got Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell.
That's true. Yeah,
and they're both doing decent this year.
Cooper DeJean's been really good against the run.
Yes. And Quinyon's pretty good in coverage. Yeah. But I think you give it to Jared Verse.
Oh, absolutely.
I read that he had an over 19% QB pressure rate for his first 10 games of the year as a rookie. That's pretty good.
That's great.
That's pretty good. And coming into a team, I think one of you guys mentioned, coming into a team without Aaron Donald.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is this their first year without Aaron Donald?
Second, I think.
They lost Aaron Donald 2 years ago. They needed another pass rusher. Jared Verse looks like, with time, he could potentially take on that role.
Yeah, I think he's there now.
He's already looking great. I mean, especially if you can get even a decent other edge to complement him.
Yeah, I agree.
That man could eat.
So too.
Yeah, so that's good. That's my take on defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I don't know enough about this position or for rookies in this position.
What is a defense?
Yeah, well,
me as a Bengals fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think, but I know enough and watched a couple Rams games where I'm like, that kid he's really good. He's really good.
Yeah.
So it'd be hard for me to argue with you.
You
on that
feel
one.
his presence.
Yeah, that's
on
true.
the field.
Yeah, you got to think about him on the other side of the ball.
Agree.
So that's good.
I agree. Jared verse 100%.
Cool.
Okay. I'm going to let one of you guys start this next category because I feel like I've been talking a lot, and I know I kind of structured the episode, but I kind of want to give myself a break. Right. I love that you reached over to the soundboard.
Dude, I had to double check and make sure they're.
What if you accidentally pressed the intro music? That would have been so funny.
That would have
been hilarious. Yeah. So I apologize for dominating the conversation a little bit, but
it's okay. It's good. I like it. You're all right.
I did put a lot of thought into structuring this episode.
Yeah, it's good.
So the next, Dad actually came up with this idea. He wants to do player superlatives.
Yay.
I think maybe because we're short on time, how about you just come up with one superlative, and we each give an answer for that superlative, and then we'll do our final segment.
Okay. The one that comes to my mind is the play, and then we're talking NFL here. The player you would most likely to enjoy playing a board game with.
See, that's different than what I was thinking we were going to do.
Montez perfect, because if he was losing, he'd give me a concussion. End my misery.
Could you imagine you're playing Sorry, and you go, sorry, Montez, and he just grabs you, boom, 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 just smacks it against the table.
Yeah,
all right, so
that would be the person I wouldn't want, actually. That would be like that'd be the bird circling my head after he slammed me through the table.
Like a Tom and Jerry video. That's crazy. I'm actually crying.
All right.
Not really.
Right.
I don't know why. I think Jared Goff just seems like a really chill guy.
Yeah. Okay. Jared Goff.
I feel like it'd be fun. We could play like.
All right, Jared, if you're listening,
or something.
Official invitation to play board games with Luke.
It would be fun. We'd have a great time.
Cool.
Talk about the Lions.
That's true. Okay, G, who?
All the players that come to my mind are Bengals players. That's just naturally because I follow them a lot. I was thinking you were going to say just favorite player you'd want to hang out with, and I was going to say Jamar Chase because I've seen his press conferences and he's just seems like so easygoing. However, if we're talking a board game, give me Ted Karras.
Okay,
that man seems so like just down to do whatever, go night on the town with, sit down, have a board. He just seems so fun. I think he was up for a Walter Payton Man of the Year award, like he was a nominee a year or two ago. But he just seems like such a nice guy and like just loves the community.
Yeah.
I love like the couple times I watched him, like I got to go to a few Bengals games this year, watching him run out of the tunnel just like at the beginning of the season, when we weren't like depressed.
When we had hope
and we weren't depressed. He's so fired up every time he runs out of the tunnel and he's so excited. He just seems like a guy who's like, I'd love to sit down with that man and just like play. Like he'd get competitive.
Yeah,
he would have fun with it. Like he'd take it serious, but you'd laugh with him. Like I like that.
Here's my guy. My guy is George Kittle.
Oh yeah, that's a good take.
I would love to play board games because I think he'd be like competitive.
Yes,
but he'd be equally fun, if not more so.
Oh
and like,
my gosh, yes.
Because watching the Netflix on the
we watched the receiver show.
Watching him a little bit, I'm like, dude, that guy would just be fun to have over and play a game with or whatever. So mine would be George Kittle.
That's so good, man. I forgot about the show for a second.
Yeah,
he was so fun to watch.
Yeah, George Kittle, hands down. All right, next, what's a superlative? You got one?
I would say like what NFL player would you like most want as a guest on this podcast?
I'm gonna say Jamar Chase on this one because if it's kind of like a press interview kind of thing, I would go Jamar with this or T. Higgins. T. Higgins also sounds like a fun. They seem pretty down to earth.
You wouldn't want Joe Burrow just to be in the same room. As Joe.
Look, I'd love
presence.
I'm not gonna lie, I would. However, I know I want to say I heard that Joe likes his privacy. He doesn't love doing the press kind of stuff, and so Joe is the kind of guy who's like, if it's a one-on-one thing and we're just throwing the ball, that's a dream come true for me.
But Joe may come to this. Like there's no press here.
You can play Smash Bros. He loves Smash Bros.
Yeah, that's true.
Joe, come hang out with the Sports F.A.M. We're just hanging out at the house.
Then I'll say Joe Burrow. But specifically like if it was a larger interview type thing, Jamar Chase would also be fun.
Yeah.
So both of those guys. Sorry, I'm so Bengals heavy.
Yeah, Luke.
Oh, did I not say mine?
No.
You just asked the question. You didn't give the answer.
I was like, what's your superlative topic?
Yeah.
I swear.
Good. Next.
I feel like it might be Baker Mayfield.
Oh, okay,
That's
cool. That's who I was going to pick.
Were you going to pick Baker?
Totally. Yeah,
You shouldn't
No, good.
It's got to be Baker. I love
that pick.
He's such a great guy. He's so funny. He seems like he would be just a joy to have on, and
yeah, I 100% agree with
he's
that.
just such a character. I mean, he just is. So
I think there'd be a lot of good stories there with him.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
just like tell us about just the transition from going from the Browns to the other teams, and just maybe people counting you out to like
from the Panthers to the Rams. The one time with the Rams that may have saved his career.
Yeah, game, that Thursday night game, right?
Yeah.
Like that was incredible. So yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's probably Baker. I think he'd be fun. He has a lot of great stories. I mean, just his whole story and in general is just really cool. Coming on as a walk on, and then now where he is pretty cool. So
yeah. I mean, I would agree with that. That's who I was thinking.
Do you have another person you might say? Since Luke took Baker, do you have anyone else that comes to mind? Or maybe a Baker-esque
player. Again, I think George Kittle would be a great guest to have on. I think he'd be a lot of fun. Baker Mayfield for sure. I don't know. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I mean, I was thinking. I think Dan Campbell would be fun to have on.
Ooh, that's a great pick.
I think he would be great to have.
We would leave that interview the most motivated we've ever been in our lives.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'd be a lot of fun to have on.
I would pile drive this desk. Like
he's like, no, get up and punch through this wall.
Yeah,
he might be the only person who could actually get me in shape.
You might be right.
Like motivate me enough to start doing it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
So good.
So he would probably. I mean, he's the next guy that came to my mind. Anyway, okay. So we got a superlative. One more.
I love that. I think I don't know if I have a superlative really. I didn't really, because I thought like personally we was just gonna be most likely to just hang out with.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
We kind of already answered that, so I'm cool with just saying Ted Karras or Jamar. And I mean, I also said like if you could like catch a pass or just like throw the football with any. Maybe let's do that. If you could throw the football with any player, who would it be? And obviously, mine's Joe Burrow because that's the dream. But what would you guys pick? Doesn't have to be a quarterback either.
Is it active or can we go retired? Or does it have to be active?
Ooh, let's bring retired into this. Let's bring retired all time.
Man.
Because I can think of some names.
I got somebody
retired,
that's right now. Okay, somebody comes to my mind right now who's I would love to throw the ball with Kirk Cousins.
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a good just to hang out, and just kind of pick his brain and just because he's a man of faith, right? And just to be able to talk through that, what's that like being a dad during the season when you're gone so much, and just how do you navigate all of that? I think, and just find out, his walk with the Lord and what that's like, and just I don't know. He's the first guy popping in my head, so I'd love to sit down with him.
What about you, Grant?
I already said Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Or throw a ball, not sit down with, but like
throw a ball with, shoot the breeze, and just like, or even like just run routes with for fun.
Dude, that'd be fun.
I'd have a good time with that.
I'm between like a couple. I think the first person that came to my mind was Jameis Winston.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
I think he'd be great.
Yeah, that would be so fun.
The horse is prepared for about it. You're like, we're just throwing the ball, Jameis.
Dude, but I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go. Send me on a go route, Jameis.
That's right.
And then I think the other person that came to mind was Drew Brees.
Yeah. Okay.
I love Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I think Drew
that'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So I guess current would be Jameis Winston, and then retired would be Drew Brees.
Cool. Can I give some runners up? Because I know mine was a little obvious. And I'll just say the names. I won't give explanations.
Andy Dalton,
Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady.
Oh yeah, of course. Peyton Manning would be good too.
Also, Tom Brady, I misunderstood him. I respect Tom Brady now more than I did when I was annoyed at the Patriots era. That's all I'll leave it. But I think they'd both be fun. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Because like I said, I've talked a lot.
Let's
I want
do
to
it.
move on to the last final segment, guys. We're already almost done. That's crazy.
I know, it's
Dude,
great.
this has flown by.
I know.
I know. This has been so fun, though.
Yeah.
So we're all music people. We like music as a big, it's a big part of our lives. So my next question, what would you guys' like walkout songs be? And one, if you're part of a team, like you're walking out as a whole team, and then one is you're walking out as an individual, or both. It might be the same.
So like, is this like would it be the Bengals? Like for you, is like you're walking out with the Bengals, or is it you have a team?
I'm walking out as a team with
just
whichever team, just in general.
Okay.
Like even like let's say like it's our volleyball league, and the championship, they have like walkout songs for each team.
They should. You guys should add that.
Like concrete wall.
Yeah,
for
the 5 people that showed up to watch this rec league because they're all family.
I don't care how many people, just do it.
I'm just saying any situation.
Empty gym.
Or say let's say it's the biggest state. Let's say it's Super Bowl. For team, you're at the Super Bowl. You have a song you get to walk out to as a team.
What position am I playing?
Okay. I've got mine.
Doesn't matter. I don't know.
I've got my team and I've got my personal one.
Okay, what's your team and what's your
my team one is We Are the Champions.
Okay.
What if you lose?
I don't care.
We aren't the champions.
No, I think it's totally like plays with your mind. Like that's playing through the system. Like and like whoa, okay.
Like it's so memed if you lost.
I don't care. Like that's the first thing that came to my mind. You can't like argue.
They're gonna play that.
That would be the most. If you
can't argue my opinion.
If you win,
I mean, you can argue it, but
that is a high risk, high reward situation.
Totally, that's why we do it.
If you win, it will go down as the dopest thing ever done. If you lose, you will be the laughing. It will be one of the most laughing stock moments ever.
I'm so sad that I wasn't the first one to say bars on this podcast. That breaks my heart.
And I was.
I know. Luke is the one who coined it.
That breaks my heart.
We Are the Champions.
For team, right?
For team. Okay. And then I'd like to play a segment of what my personal song would be if I can. This is called Not Your Grandma's Hymn, Victory in Jesus Goes Hard Rock.
My gosh.
Give your grandma a heart attack, Victory in Jesus.
This is my personal walkout song. Dude, is that not, that's sick.
That's kind of dope.
Just give it time. Dude, can you just picture this? Like I'm walking out by myself, getting ready to like whatever, I don't know, preach
before a sermon.
This would be sweet, actually.
Here we go.
How a savior came from glory, how he gave his life on Calvary to save a wretch like me.
Isn't that sweet? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
I like it. That's definitely AI.
We'll put that in the notes.
Be AI, right?
It is. I think it is. But
it?
I think it is. But
it sounds like AI.
Dad.
What?
You went AI songs on us.
Hey, I'm sorry.
You are what's wrong with it. You are what's wrong with this culture.
Yeah, anyway, so we need to put the link to that song in the notes, and which we will.
Wait, so I have a question. Do we all get to play a snippet of a song?
No, we don't have time. Just
because it's AI, and we just wanted to have his moment.
Okay, whatever.
Go ahead. Quickly.
Luke? Oh, wait, did you say, so
team is We're the Champions.
Individual is whatever this was.
Yeah, it was You're Not Your Grandma's Hymn.
You have to tell me you have to tell them what you told me.
What?
Your song you said.
What song? I forget.
It was SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my first choice before we went live was like, I think my walkout song would be SpongeBob
I was like,
SquarePants.
If your name was SpongeBob
SquarePants, at the Super Bowl, it's just you about to walk out. Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
That mic so bad.
I'm sorry. I got
that's good. Okay,
there. That's my
Who's
bad.
Next?
My bad, listeners.
I don't have one. You go.
Go.
So I did prep. So team song. This is an EDM song, by the way. I know Luke doesn't love this song, especially if you're on like a sports team and it's like not a co-ed team. It's like either a guys league or a girls league. If it's a guys league, walking out to Bad Boys by Marshmello would be kind of dope.
Bad boys.
Can I please just play the drop of it?
No.
It's so dope. It just basically like it builds up and it just goes, you're messing with some bad boys, and it just like drops real hard. And I'm like, okay, that'd be kind of sick. That'd be kind of sick to walk out to personally. Individually, I'm between two.
Okay.
One, as I am an avid NF fan, is the song Careful by NF.
Okay.
The beginning where it's just like a bunch of choral vocalizations and it just starts like almost like dark, like final boss type music, and then walks out and just to like this dope flow of a chorus and like rap verse from NF and Corday. Really dope. I would love to walk out to that. There's also a song by a lesser known guy named Stim, and it's called Reincarnated.
Is that like Tim with an S?
Yes, but not Tim's, Stim. Any song that starts with the line, "Run for Your Life" is an amazing walkout song.
Stimmy Neutron.
You are just taking all the air out of my recommendation.
Stimmy Neutron. Sorry.
So, Reincarnated by he does a little bit of like mesh of like, it's got some good like hip hop beats to it, but it's got like some rock elements and also some pop, but it's yeah, that song just starts with "Run for Your Life." And I heard that, I'm like, I am putting this on my workout playlist immediately.
All I see is like that being a walkout song, and you just keep running. You never
stop.
You never stop.
Like that scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail where it's that one dude running at the same position for every like
run
frame.
for your life. He just keeps on going.
I wish I could play this segment because it's actually sick. I have a select group of workout songs that's specifically like my hype song playlist. Like before I go play a volleyball game or something.
Look at it or listen to it on Spotify. Is it on Spotify?
Yeah, it's everywhere. So Reincarnated by Stim or Careful by NF is my individuals.
Okay. You got anything quick, Luke?
I think for solo, for just me, probably "I Miss You" by Blink-182. Would just be just a vibe.
Where are you?
Where are you? And I'm so sorry. I think would just be awesome.
Okay.
Because the crowd would be singing it too.
Yeah, true.
They would get in on it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
What's your team song?
Oh,
team workout song.
The same thing.
No, probably like the
Where's
What's
my
New
team?
Scooby-Doo
Simple
theme
Plan?
song. Yeah.
The one that's
What's the Scooby-Doo? Coming after you. Dude, I think that's not going to be fun as a team.
Oh, my word.
I think
Okay.
that'll be fun.
Hey, listen, it's your choice.
And then we could just have like the theme song like playing on the monitors and screens.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be
I'm
cool.
down. Okay.
Guys, those are some interesting and Luke, I outrageous selections. But guys, that was so. I'm not gonna lie, I had a really good time just talking this out with you.
It was fun.
I'm
Well
looking
done,
forward.
guys.
I'm looking forward to some episodes where
First
you guys.
episode.
I'm looking forward to the episodes where you guys get to dictate the agenda more, and like I can kind of sit back more.
Sure.
I know I kind of took.
Did a good job. You did a good job, Grant.
I hope so.
I did a good job, me. Yay.
I'm a little.
Luke did a good job.
I'm trying to be more aware of how much I dominate the conversation this year, and trying to be careful with that. So I hope I was a decent host.
Dude, you were all over it.
But yeah, I'm just so glad we got to do this together, guys. To all the listeners, like, thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to get to kick this off together and hopefully have more episodes soon. But guys, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in to our first ever episode of the Sports F.A.M. We are going to work on that. All right, let's try again.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for turning
Yeah.
F
Hey.
to the Sports F.A.M. podcast. We out.
Yeah.
We're gonna practice that.